Welcome crafters! I have 9 Christmas wreath tutorials for you today. In today's video, I'm going to take you step by step through the Christmas wreath making process. This will give you a really good start on how to make a Christmas wreath. Let's get started. To get started on today's project, you're going to need one of the 8-inch wire wreath forms that you can pick up from Dollar Tree. Then you're also going to need a roll of this neutral jute colored snowball mesh that you can pick up from Hobby Lobby. Now I got this one over in their Christmas section, and this roll is 5.5 inches at 30 feet. It regularly retails for $7.99, but I never pay full price for anything at Hobby Lobby unless I absolutely have to. You'll also need a package of pipe cleaners cut in half. We're going to be doing my folded ruffle method today. You need to cut your mesh into strips of 12 inches. You take the 2 cut ends and you fold them over each other by about 1 inch. So you have a nice little tube. Press down. Take one end and scrunch to the center. Take the other, scrunch to the center and meet. Grab a pipe cleaner, cut in half, wrap it around. Now here on the top is where all your cut ends are. That needs to be the bottom, so you want to make sure your ends are pulled to the top there. And then I like to pull my mesh down. It makes it easier for me to get a good grab and pinch. Give a twist. And that's what your little bundle should look like. I think they look like little butterflies. I'll show you one more time. Now to attach your bundles to your wreath form, we're going to be attaching them to the center bar and the outer bar. I've attached 3 already. So you just take your pipe cleaners, feed it on either side of those 2 bars, pull it up nice and snug and give a good twist or 2. Then I like to pull my pipe cleaners together. And then I fold them down so that they face forward, and then push your bundle over. This helps keep your back looking nice and clean and professional, and you won't be able to see those pipe cleaners from the front. But look at how pretty the folded ruffle is. I love it because it gives you such a textured look, but yet it's still a smooth look as well. Now on this wreath form, in between each section, and each section is between the crossbars, you're going to place 10 bundles. So this wreath will take a total of 30 bundles, and that is one complete roll. I'm going to get the base of my wreath done, and then I'll come back and we can move forward and decorate. I have my base all done, and I'm so happy with the end result. I really like the folded ruffle with this snowball mesh. It looks so pretty, and I love it. Now I picked up this little cutie. It is an ornament, and he is like a styrofoam ornament. I got him from craftoutlet.com. He was about $3, but he is the perfect size to fit in the center. Now I have seen several different types of gingerbread people that you can pick up at any of the craft stores. Dollar Tree also has a wood cutout that's a little bit larger than this that would work perfectly in the center as well. So you can always pick one of those up and then paint it to your specifications. But I really like him. I think he's super cute. I love his coloring. He looks like a real gingerbread man. And he does come with this long red string to hang him because he was an ornament. But I'm going to cut this here in half and then use this to tie on the top. And then I'll use hot glue to get my placement, and I do want him kind of right in the center. I'm going to add a few other things around him, but I want him to be my main focal point. I think he's super cute, and I think he stands out nicely on my background. So I'm just going to take the ribbon and I'm going to separate my mesh here And I want to tie him onto a crossbar. So I'm just going to find a crossbar here. There we go. Then I'm just going to feed the ribbon down and tie it onto the crossbar here in the back. I have my little guy tied on. Then just find his placement. I think that looks really cute. And now I'm going to secure his placement with some hot glue. I have my little gingerbread guy here on. He's nice and secure. He's not going to go anywhere. And now I pulled out some of my vase filler in red and white, and these are the larger size. And I'm just going to add these all the way around to add a little bit more color and a little bit more sparkle. And I'm just going to be hot gluing those in, and I'm going to fill it in all the way around my base. And here you go, we're all done. I'm really happy with the final product. I think the vase fillers were the perfect final addition to finish off my small gingerbread wreath. I think it is so cute. Sometimes simple designs are the best. For today's project, you're going to need one of the candy cane wreath forms that you can pick up from Dollar Tree. And then I'm also going to be using this really pretty red and white striped ribbon. I picked this up at Michael's. I really do like this. The red is kind of that velvety feel, and then the white is more like a flat kind of material. I really do like it. And this is 2.5 inches, and it is wired edge. To get started, we're going to wrap the base here with our beautiful candy cane ribbon. And to start the wrap, I'm going to place the end here kind of at an angle. I'm going to fold this up over the end like that. That way I can cover these sharp little nubs here at the base. And I'm just going to hot glue that little corner down to get me started. So there, now I got that to fold over nicely, and that seam is right there on the bottom. Okay, I have my end nice and secure. This is nice and clean at the bottom, and now I'm just going to simply wrap my way up until I get to the other end and cover my base. So I'm down here near the end. I've measured out how much more ribbon I'm going to need to finish wrapping that last little bit, but before I do that, I cut a small piece that I want to glue down and wrap right around the ends here because again they have those sharp little points. I have to say this ribbon is really nice and thick. I would say it's very good for outside ribbon. I think it will handle the elements very well. Okay, so I just covered that end, and now I can finish doing my wrap. I have the base of my candy cane all wrapped, and I'm very happy with that. I think it is quite stunning. Go ahead and set this aside. Now to decorate our candy cane, I pulled out some greenery. I have these two pine cones that are tipped in white for snow, and they do come on a wire here. I'm going to be using two of these. I have one stem of this really pretty poinsettia. Now this poinsettia is kind of that velvety feel, which I think will go really well with the ribbon that I used to wrap the base, because that also has that velvety feel. I did pick this up from Dollar Tree. Then I have this one stem, and actually this stem is like 5 or 6 pieces. They are all wrapped together here. I'm going to be taking the paper off and separating those pieces so I can use them individually. I believe I picked this up at Michael's. And then I have one stem of the snow greenery, and this is the dark color. I did pick this up at Dollar Tree. And then the last greenery is this one, and I just recently picked this guy up, and this is by Floral Garden. It's called Holly Bouquet, and they have it with the red berries or with white. And I like the fact that it comes with the variegated holly leaves and then a little bit of greenery and some extra berries there that are tipped with that snow. I think all of these will go very nicely with the base. So I'm going to go ahead and prep these. So I have all my pieces cut and ready to go. Now I'm going to put together another one of these, which is a little pick. I really do like it. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to start here with my greenery. I have my 2 pieces of pine. This actually came with 5, so I have one extra one, and I'm going to add that to this one. So that's going to be my background. And then I have a couple pieces of this dark greenery that I got from Dollar Tree. And again, with this one I had an extra piece, so the extra piece went in the other one. So you want to get your greenery down as your base. And then I have one of these with the berries and the holly, and one with a piece of greenery and berries. Those are going to go in here as well. Feel free to bend them a little bit to go in the direction that you need. And then I'm also going to add the pine cone. And I like that they're on wire because you can bend them so that they shape and sit the way that you want. And then I'm going to put one bloom down here as well. Just kind of work that in my hand. I want to add one more bloom, but my stem is too short, so I'm just going to hot glue that in a little later. So once you have everything together in your hand, you want to wrap the bottom with some floral tape. And to get it started, you just need to wrap it around itself a couple times. Then once you get it going, you can come down to the end. Anything that's hanging out too long, just trim off. And then work back up. You want that to be nice and secure. And then put a little dab of hot glue at the end to keep the end down. Okay, so I have my 2 picks. Now I still have one more flower, and I have a couple other elements, but I'm going to wait until I get these onto my wreath before I attach those. My next step is I'm going to take my 2 ends here and I'm going to wrap them together. I am planning on putting them here on the wreath with a bow in the middle. So now I just need to wrap the 2 together so that they're nice and sturdy. So I have my 2 picks floral taped together. They're nice and sturdy. They're not going to go anywhere. And I want to place it kind of right across from the end here. So I'm thinking approximately there. And I'm not only going to hot glue this kind of in position, the hot glue will kind of hold it in the angle that I want, but I'm also going to use floral wire to wire it on. This is a heavy piece, and I think using just the hot glue is not going to be enough. Take a good amount of floral wire. And I just used the floral wire that I picked up at Dollar Tree. I really do like the silver. You can pretty much use this on any color. It is 26 gauge and you get 100 feet for $1.25. So I'm going to take my floral wire here. I'm going to add some hot glue first. Just kind of at the base there. And then I'm going to wrap my wire. And I'm going to wrap it around a couple times to make sure it's nice and secure. And we're going to work on the bow now. You're going to need 2 full-length pipe cleaners. I'm going to be using my Easy Bow Maker. I do have arthritis in my hands, which does make it difficult to make bows for me, so this really helps me out. And then this is the ribbon that I've chosen today. I picked this up at Paper Mart, and this is 2.5 inches at 10 yards. It was $5.45. I really do like that beautiful pattern. I think it'll go well with the wreath. So I'm going to start by measuring my tails at 8 inches. I'm going to pinch and then twist and come down in between my 2 large dowel rods. Now for my tail, the knife side should be facing up, but when I go to make my loops, the knife side should be facing down. And I'm going to start by making 2 6-inch loops on either side. So I have my 2 loops on either side at 6 inches, and now I'm going to add 1 loop on either side at 5 inches. Okay, and then I'm going to measure my tail at 8 inches and trim. Okay, and that's approximately what your bow should be looking like. Now I'm going to add 1 more piece. I want a center loop and an additional tail. So I'm just going to make a loop for my center loop, scrunch it, and place it in the center. And then I'm just going to pull out that tail again and trim at 8 inches. Take a full-length pipe cleaner, slide it in on one side until you get next to your dowel rods. You want to pull that nice and tight and then lift up. Take those pipe cleaners, pull them nice and tight, wrap it around to the back. Real tight and give a good twist. Okay, my pipe cleaner needs to be longer, so I'm going to add an additional one. Just lay it in the center. Give a twist or two. And then you take one of the short ones and wrap it around one of the long ones. This will make it nice and secure and easy for you to attach it to your wreath. Just like that. I always like to hold it in the center. And then just go ahead and open up your loops, pull your tails down. If things don't lay right, just go right up to where it comes out and twist it until it lays in the direction you want it to. And that is what your bow should approximately look like. And then I'm just going to take my pipe cleaners and I'm going to wrap it right around the center here to the back and tie it off. Trim off any excess pipe cleaners. I usually leave about a 1/2 inch. And then tuck the ends. I got my bow on and my tails trimmed. I'm really happy. I left my tails long. I really do like them that way. Now that I have my bow on and everything is pretty well situated, I have a few pieces left over of my greenery. I'm going to go ahead and add these now. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glue on the end and then stick them in where I want them. So I'm going to get those done and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. And there you go. We are all done. I'm very happy with the end result. Here on the back, I did add a little loop. Now I did end up tying that all the way around the frame there, as you can see. But I wanted to make sure there was nothing back here to scratch my door, so I also glued down a piece of ribbon over all of my attachments. But this is how I'm going to hang my wreath. And I'm very pleased with the end result. I absolutely love this ribbon on this wreath. For today's project, you're going to need a 14-inch wire wreath form. I picked this up from Dollar Tree. This one happens to be silver, but you can use whatever color you can find. You're also going to need several rolls of ribbon. Now these two ribbon I did pick up this year at Dollar Tree. I think they're both very pretty. This one is 2.5 inches at 9 feet, and it's that solid gold. This is so pretty on a wreath. It has that really soft shimmer of gold. I like this ribbon. And then I also really like the print on this one. Red background, red poinsettia, a really nice neutral line out there of the poinsettia, and it has just a little bit of trim of gold, and it also is trimmed here on the side with gold. But I really do like those. And then these two I believe I picked up a year or two ago at Dollar General, and these both have a burlap background. I like them because they both have pretty much the same color tones. The burlap background, the red print. This one has a little bit more gold. This one has a little bit more shimmery red. And they both have that little bit of green. I thought all 4 of these ribbons would go very pretty. They are all 2.5 inches at 9 feet, and I do have 2 rolls of each. You're also going to need a package of the zip ties, and these come 60 to a package from Dollar Tree. I have all my ribbon open and ready to go. I have some zip ties out. Now, if you don't like to use zip ties, I normally am not a big zip tie person, but for this method, I'm going to use zip ties. You can also use pipe cleaners or chenille stems, whichever you prefer. So I have 1 of each of the rolls, and I have them layered here. You just want to take your end and scrunch it together. And then we're going to start by attaching it here to the crossbar. And I'm going to attach it here to the second wire. grab your zip tie, kind of get that started. Sometimes these are hard for me to get going. Aha. Get your little end in there and tighten that down. Pull that to the back. You want your mess into the back. Just get it nice and secure. You don't want that to come loose. And then trim off any excess. So I have everything nice and attached. It's not going to go anywhere. And now I'm just going to grab my ribbon. I'm going to measure at about 6 inches, maybe a little bit more. Come up, do a scrunch. Grab another zip tie on that same wire. I'm going to zip tie it down right where I had it pinched. Again, before you tighten it all the way down, pull the mess to the bottom. There you go. Get it nice and snug and slide over. So pull nice and snug. So I have my first 2 loops on. And now my next one, since I measured my first one, now I'm just going to match up the rest of them to my first and then the next one. I want them to be relatively the same size. Pinch. Now I have my first 4 rolls on, and I've gone a little bit further than halfway around the wreath, which makes me happy. You want to make sure to go all the way to the very end of the first set of ribbons. Now I'm going to start my second set of ribbons and continue. Now what I found works best as far as placement is I have 4 attached in each section. That 5th loop is the bridge between the 2 sections. Okay, so in each section you should have 4 ties, and then that 5th loop will go between the 2, and then you'll have 4 and then another. That way you have just the right amount of ribbon. So to recap, on your first loop you want to measure your ribbon at about 6.5 inches and attach, and then use that first loop to measure as you go, and just pull the next loop up next to it and continue to go all the way around. I'm going to finish adding my loops, and then I'll come back and show you how to open those up and get a nice full wreath. I have all my little ribbon bundles on. I'm really happy. Now I have quite a bit of ribbon left here, so I'm going to add a little bit of a bigger bow. Now I'm not going to cut this. Just going to pull it out nice and smooth. Now I want to leave some tails here, so I don't need them to be too long, so that's kind of where I want my tails here. So I'm going to pinch it there. And then here, where I last attached, I'm going to take this down here and pull that large loop all the way up. That's going to be my center. So I'm going to pinch it there. Okay? Then you take your tail end, put it down, and then you take your center end and you put it down. And then you zip tie that down. Okay, so let me do that one more time. I have the tail. This is what's left. Come down, figure out how long you want your tails. I don't want them very long. Pinch. Those are my tails. I still have a long piece. Take where I pinched for my tails and come right here to where you attached it last. Place it there so you can get your measurement. Pull that large loop all the way up so you can find the center. And then you take that center and you pinch. So you're holding 2 pinches. Your tails go down first, and then the center, which is the center of your bow. And zip tie that down. Make sure to pull that zip tie to the back so that little nub is in the back of your wreath. Okay. Here on my tails, each of my tails are a different length. That's okay. I'm just going to dovetail each of the ends. I don't want to take too much off, but I do want to clean them up. Now I'm just going to go through and open up my loops. You just need to separate each of them. Just pull your loops into different areas so that not all the same colors are all on the same side. You want to get a nice mix as you open up your loops. I've gone in and opened up all my loops. I have my tails trimmed, and now I'm going to open up the bow that I made. I just kind of pulled it out of the way while I opened up my loops. I have everything poofed out and arranged. I'm really happy with that. I have my bow open. I have all my little tails. I think that looks really pretty. And I like my bow, but I want to add a little something right here to make that the focal point. So I just cut 2 pieces of poinsettia, and this has just a little bit of gold here in the center, and a couple of the petals have trimmed in gold. Now I left the green leaves on because I want to pull out a little bit of the green. And then I also have one little stem of some berries. And then I just want to kind of glue these into the center here of my bow. I kind of draw your attention and make that my focal point. And here you go. We are all done. I'm really happy with the end result. I think it came out absolutely beautiful. I really do love the combination of all 4 of my ribbon choices. I think they all go together really nicely. And I absolutely love my little final touch here of these red velvet poinsettias, a little bit of greenery, and some berries. To get started on today's craft, you're going to need an 18-inch grapevine wreath form. I picked this one up at Walmart. Now you just need to look at the shape and the size and determine which one you like. You're also going to need some greenery. I picked up this big stem of beautiful Christmas greeneries from Michael's last year when everything was 90% off. I'm only going to need one stem of this beautiful Christmas greenery. To prep your Christmas greens, simply pull them out. If they don't want to pull out, just trim the paper at the bottom until each piece is released. I will also be using 2 stems of holly that I found at Dollar Tree. I really do like the variegated holly. I think the two will go together very nicely in the wreath. Now to prep your holly, you just want to push everything up and then trim your stems. You want to leave a couple inches. I have all of my greenery prepped and ready to go. So take a look at your wreath form and decide how you want it to lay, where you want the top and where you want the bottom. Now I'm going to be placing all of my greenery on one side. I'm planning on putting a bow here in the middle, so I'm going to be leaving a space there. I'm going to start with this greenery to build my base. Just simply dip it into your glue skillet, wipe off any excess glue, and feed it into your wreath form. I really do like this greenery. It has wire all the way up, making it easy for you to bend and shape it as needed. Now that is approximately the space that I'm going to be covering with the greenery. I'm going to continue filling in the base using this greenery. The glue skillet is adjustable, which I really do like. You can turn it up to medium-high to get quick melt of your glue, and then once it's melted, turn it down to low. That will keep it right where you need it to work for hours. When adding your greenery and embellishments, you want to keep it even between the top and the bottom for the most part. You can always add 1 or 2 extra embellishments to the top or to the bottom, and that'll be fine. But for the most part, you want to keep things relatively even. Now I'm going to add some of this beautiful holly that I found at Dollar Tree. Now I have 3 pine cones, but I'm only going to be adding 2, one at the top and one at the bottom. I'm going to wait to add the 3rd one until I get my bow on. Next, I'll be adding these beautiful red berries. I have a few pieces left over of my greenery and 1 pine cone. I'm going to save that to add until after I add my bow. Let's go ahead and clean this up and let's get started on our bow. We're going to start to work on our bow now. I'm going to be using my Easy Bow Maker. I really do like to use this tool. I do have arthritis in my hands and it does make it difficult to make bows. These are the two ribbons that I'm going to be using today. The red one here I picked up from Dollar Tree. It's 2.5 inches at 9 feet. It does have a little bit of glitter on it, but I think it's very pretty. Now this ribbon I picked up from Dollar General. It is also 2.5 inches at 9 feet. I really do like it. It's nice and thick, and I absolutely love the snowmen. We're going to get started with the red ribbon. Measure your tails at 8 inches. Pinch as you come through the two large dowel rods. Here on your tails, the nice side should be facing up, but once you come through, the nice side should be facing down when you go to make your loops. With the red ribbon here, I'm going to be making 3 loops on either side at 5 inches. While your bow is in the bow maker, you can go ahead and adjust your bow. You can play with it and make sure that it's going to lay and look the way that you want it to. Now we're going to move to our snowman ribbon. Measure your tails at 8 inches. Pinch as you come through. On this ribbon, we're going to be measuring our loops at 4 inches, and we'll be doing 2 loops on either side at 4 inches. I have the remaining piece of red ribbon. I'm going to add this on the top. I'm going to measure my tails at 3 inches and I'm going to do 1 loop on either side at 3 inches. You're also going to need 1 full-length pipe cleaner. Slide that down on one side until you get next to the dowel rods. Lift it up on either side. Push your ribbon all the way down, squeeze tight, and then pull up. This will help to keep your ribbon nice and stacked as you tie it. Wrap those pipe cleaners around to the back. Pull tight and give a good twist. To adjust your bow, simply pull your tails down and open up all your loops. Go ahead and play with them until you get it the way that you like it. This is what your bow should approximately look like. Now I always like to wait until I get my bow on my wreath before I trim my tails. Okay, let's get our bow placed. I'm going to put it right here in the center in the space that I left. Now you just need to decide where you want to place it. I think I'm going to place it up closer to the top. And then to attach it, just take your pipe cleaners here and wrap it around the wreath form to the back and give it a good twist. Then you just want to trim your pipe cleaners and tuck it into the back of the wreath form. I got my bow attached and I placed it right up near the top here. So now I need to fill in underneath the bow. I'm just going to be using the leftover pieces of greenery and holly that I have. I have the rest of my greenery and my Christmas embellishments all glued in. I'm really happy with how everything is looking. I think it's coming together rather nicely. Our final embellishment for our wreath is this adorable snowman pick. I picked him up at Michael's at the end of last year when everything was 90% off. I think he is absolutely adorable and will be the perfect final addition to our Christmas grapevine wreath. Here you go. We are all done. Well, I'm very happy with the end result. I think everything comes together perfectly for this beautiful Christmas grapevine wreath. To get started on today's project, you're going to need one of the 14-inch wreath forms that you can pick up from Dollar Tree. This one happens to be gold, but you can use whatever color that you have. You're also going to need one roll of red deco mesh from Dollar Tree. And then you're also going to need one roll of this really nice jute colored snowball mesh that you can pick up from Hobby Lobby. This comes in their Christmas section. You'll also need a package of pipe cleaners cut in half. You want to cut your mesh into strips of 6 inches. And we're going to be doing the curl method today, and that's very simple. You just start at one end and slowly roll up. And you want 2 curls per bundle. Take your pipe cleaner and wrap it around the center. I always like to pull my bundle down so I can get a nice grip, and then pinch and twist. Now to attach our bundles onto our wreath form, we're going to be attaching it to the 2 bars in the middle, and in between each section, which is in between each of the crossbars, you're going to be placing 8 bundles. And the pattern that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to do 2 of the neutral jute colored, and then 1 red, and then 2, and then 1 red. I do want some decent red in there, but I want the majority of my base to be the neutral color. So you just wrap your pipe cleaners around both sides of those 2 bars in the middle, pull nice and tight and give a twist or 2. And then I like to pull my pipe cleaners together, and then I like to push them forward. This keeps your back looking nice and clean, and you're not going to see these from the front. So again, just stick those pipe cleaners on either side of the 2 bars in the middle, pull tight and give a good twist. Pull the ends together and then push them forward and move over your bundle. So I have 2 of the neutral, and now I'm going to add my red. When you're dealing with such a bright, beautiful red, a little bit goes a long way. Okay, now that may not look like much right now, but once you start filling in your sections, that's going to look absolutely gorgeous. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and work on my base and get it done, and then I'll be back. And there you go. I have completed my base. Now I'm really happy with how the coloring came out. I think it is very striking. Now you do need to go back and do a little bit of cleanup with the curl method. You do tend to get a little bit more fraying with this method than you do with others. And so if you see anything that looks funny that's sticking out, just go through and nip. Even when using good mesh, sometimes you do get a little bit of fraying. So just clean it up. But I'm very happy with my base. Now this is the sign that I've chosen to use on our wreath today, and I did pick this up at craftoutlet.com. And I think that looks so beautiful. That's why I wanted to add a little bit of red to pull out that red in the sign. I think that looks so pretty on that. Now this sign does come with a jute cord, and it is stapled on. So I'm going to use this to help me attach it to my wreath. But I also want to add 2 pipe cleaners down here at the bottom. I want to make sure this is nice and secure and that it doesn't go anywhere. So I'll glue one down here in each corner. Make sure your glue is fully set up before you attempt to attach it to your wreath. So the glue is nice and dry. I did take my jute cord here and cut it in half. Now I'm just going to feed these ends down and tie them onto the wire frame. And I like that right in the middle. And like I said, to attach, just feed your rope here and your pipe cleaners down through the mesh and tie it onto your wire frame in the back. You can tie it on anywhere that you need to get the sign to sit where you want it on your wreath. I have my sign on. Once you get your sign on and you're happy with its placement, you want to make sure to trim your pipe cleaners and then push them forward. And then on the rope here, what I like to do is I do a double knot. And then I add a little bit of hot glue around the knot there so it doesn't come loose. Then I can trim the end. But now my sign is nice and secure and it's not going to go anywhere. We're going to work on the bow now. I found this ribbon at Craft Outlet as well. It is a really good ribbon. And I bought this brand before, and it's very nice ribbon. It's nice and thick. And this has a little bit of fuzziness on the sides. But what I like is that it perfectly matches the sign. It has the same little gingerbread boy and girl as the sign. So I was really happy when I saw that they matched. That's why I picked them up. And this one is, let's see, 2.5 inches at 10 yards. I will list the item number in the description box below. But I think that's super cute. You want to cut a piece of your ribbon at 32 inches, and then you'll need 1 full-length pipe cleaner. I'm just going to make a simple bow. So I'm going to fold it in half and find my center. And I'm going to scrunch my center. And then I'm going to measure at 8 inches from where I pinched and pinch again. Then I'm going to pull that to the center. And then on the other side I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to measure at 8 inches. I'm going to pinch and pull that back to the center. Take my pipe cleaner and wrap it right around the center. Pull it to the back, give it a good twist. And just open up your loops. Very cute little basic bow. Now I want to put my bow right here in the center at the top, and I can already tell I don't like the tails that long, so I'm going to be cutting those shorter. And then for the center there, I have one of these cute little wood icons that I picked up at Dollar Tree of a little gingerbread, and I just stained it with the Waverly Antique Wax so it's nice and dark, and I'm just going to put him right in the center to finish off the bow. So I'm going to get my bow attached and my tails trimmed and my little guy glued on, and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. And there you go, we are all done. I think the bow came out absolutely adorable. I'm very pleased with the end result. I think it looks so cute. Very simple and clean, yet very festive. To get started on today's project, you're going to need a 14-inch working wreath form. Now, if you have not seen me put one of these together, I will link a short video in the description box below that will show you how to make one. And if you don't have access to the description box, you can find it in my playlist under Tips and Tricks for Beginners, How to Make a Working Wreath Form. You're also going to need one roll of 10-inch by 10-yard deco mesh. This one is silver, and there are no metallic strips in this one, and I picked this up at papermart.com and I got it for $1.65. Now, I did have this in my stash for about a year or two, so they may be more expensive, but I thought that was a really great price for a 10-inch by 10-yard deco mesh roll, $1.65. I have my mesh unrolled and my wreath form is ready to go. We're going to be doing two different methods on the base today. The first one is going to be the poof method, and then we're going to fill in with the curl method. And you're only going to need one roll of 10-inch by 10-yard deco mesh to finish your base. So this is a nice budget-friendly base if you're using a 10-inch deco mesh. To start, you want to take your ends and scrunch them all together. I'm going to start here in the center. I'm going to place your ends into your first pipe cleaner on the center ring. Pull nice and tight and give a good twist or two. Okay. Then we're going to be measuring our poofs at 8 inches. And you want to start to measure your poofs right where you tied it down. So lay that down, measure out to 8 inches, pinch, and then where you pinched, go into your next pipe cleaner in the center, place it, and give a good twist. Now you want to continue to do that all the way around the center until you get back to the pipe cleaner where you started. For your convenience, in the description box below is a detailed list of all the tools and materials I used to complete this Christmas gnome wreath. Now I'm back where I started. Now I'm going to move down to the lower or outer ring, and that's really easy. You just grab it and drop down to the pipe cleaner that's directly below. Give a good twist, and then you continue around the outer ring doing the same thing, measuring at 8 inches. Pinching and then placing into the next pipe cleaner. Now this should use up half your roll, and then the second half of the roll we'll be doing in the curl method to fill in. I have completed the poof method on the base. And I went through and opened up all my poofs, and that just means to go in, to separate and open it up. Okay, so that's ready to go. You also want to pull your pipe cleaners up straight. We're going to be adding more to them. Now with the rest of your roll, you want to clean up your end. You want to cut the rest of the roll into strips at 8 inches. I have all of my mesh cut, and now I'm going to cut my ribbon, and I found this absolutely adorable gnome ribbon at Walmart. This is 2.5 inches at 40 feet. And it was $7.98. I really do love it. It has that gray and white background with the really pretty dark gray and red gnomes. Very cute. And then I'm also going to be using this ribbon, which I picked up at Costco. This is another roll of their wonderful $6.99 ribbon. And this is, I believe, 2.5 inches at 50 yards. And I like this one a lot. It's sheer, but has a good enough amount of color that it doesn't just fade away, but not too much. So I really like this one. I want to add some red, but I don't want like a solid red. You will want to cut your ribbon into strips at 12 inches, and you will need 12 pieces of each. Once you have your ribbon cut, you'll want to dovetail your ends. Now I like to stack mine. I just put the two together. And I don't like a real strong dovetail, so I only come down maybe about a 1/2 inch and cut from the center to the point. And then that gives me just a really pretty nice little dovetail. You'll want to do this to all of your ribbon. Now to fill in our base, we'll be doing 2 different bundles. The bundle that has the ribbon, you'll only be adding 1 curl. You don't want to curl it too tight. It should roll up nicely for you. Then add 1 piece of each ribbon. Now at every pipe cleaner around the center, you will be adding a curl and ribbon. Place it in between the pipe cleaners, pull nice and tight. Give a couple good twists. Then you want to trim your pipe cleaners, leave about a 1/2 inch, and then push your pipe cleaners down. Grab your curl and your ribbon and kind of just pull everything up. And you want your bundle to run crossways, not this way. Running it crossways is going to give you a much fuller and thicker base, and it will leave the center open. If you run them this way, you'll not have a very thick base and you'll have a lot of mesh crammed in the center. So make sure that when you place in your bundles that you're placing them sideways. Now across from the center, on the ones on the outside, these are the ones that you're only going to put a curl. Now depending on how many cuts you were able to get, if you have enough, put 2 curls where you don't have a ribbon. If not, just put 1. Sometimes I get extra pieces where I can do 2 curls. Sometimes I don't. It all depends on how I measured and how the roll was. I'll put your 2 curls together, and again you want to place them in sideways, not vertical. Okay, so then on the next one on the outside, I will put a curl and ribbon because there isn't going to be one on the inside. This way it kind of mixes it up as you move around. So you have one on the inside, one on the outside, one on the inside, one on the outside. It makes it nice and evenly distributed all the way around your wreath. I'm going to continue to get my ribbon and my curls in my base. When I'm complete, I'll come back and we'll move forward and decorate. I have my base completed. I have all my curls and my ribbon in, and look at how beautiful that looks. Nice and full off of one roll of 10-inch by 10-yard deco mesh. And if you can pick it up for $1.65, that makes it very affordable. Even more affordable than using Dollar Tree mesh. Go ahead and set this aside.
You're also going to need a laser cut word, believe. You can pick this up in the Crafter Square section. They come in a package of 2. You want to get 1 good coat of a red paint. I used Folk Art Lipstick Red. When I went into my Dollar Tree, I was very excited to see that they got in new garden stake gnomes. I really fell in love with this one, dressed as Santa. This is the one I'm going to be using on our wreath today. Now sometimes I have a hard time getting the stake off. If it doesn't want to pry off easily, you can always break it off. Looks like this one's going to come off pretty easily. To get the sign ready to be attached to the wreath, I'm going to glue on 3 pipe cleaners onto the back. Lay in a nice daub of glue, put down your pipe cleaner, top it off with a little bit more glue. And then recently I like to put a little bit of ribbon over the top. This just gives it a little bit of extra security to make sure that my hot glue does not fail. You want to make sure your glue fully sets up before you attach it to your wreath. I'm going to place my sign here on top of my mesh, slightly off center. And then I'm going to place my believe here on the side. Just play with the placement until you find where you like it. To attach the believe, you're going to need some floral wire. I just took a piece of floral wire, wrapped it around the top of the L, twisted it in the back so I can attach it to my wreath. If the little bit of wire bothers you, you can always touch it up after you get it on your wreath with your red paint. To attach your sign and believe, simply take your pipe cleaners and your floral wire, separate the mesh until you get to the back where the wired wreath form is, and attach it to the wired wreath form. You can attach it anywhere on that wreath form that you need to get your gnome and your believe to sit where you want them to. I have my gnome and believe attached. Once you get them attached, you want to go in and arrange your ribbon. Pull it out from behind the sign so that you can see it. You also want to make sure some of the ribbon goes down underneath the word believe. Now that your believe is wired on, just use a couple drops of hot glue to get it in the correct position and to hold it there. Now we're going to add the final element, these beautiful red and silver Christmas balls. They come in a package of 15 at Dollar Tree. Simply add some hot glue to the top and then nestle them into your wreath. I usually like to put some in the center of my ribbon bundles. It helps to open up the ribbon bundle and makes the ornaments stand out. And here you go, we are all done. I have all of my Christmas ornaments glued in. I think they were the perfect final touch for this wreath.
To get started on today's project, you're going to need a 14-inch wreath form that you can pick up from Dollar Tree. This happens to be silver, but it doesn't matter. You can use whatever color that you have. And you're also going to need 2 rolls of the Poly Pro mesh ribbon. You can pick this up at Hobby Lobby. Now, whenever I purchase my mesh from Hobby Lobby, I only purchase it when it's 50% off. The normal retail for this is $9.99, so I purchased 2 for $9.99. So that's pretty good for $10 in mesh and $1.25 wreath form, package of pipe cleaners. So for about $12, you have a nice base to work with. I really do like this mesh, especially if you want to put your wreath outside because it is weatherproof. And this roll is 10 inches by 10 yards, and this is their jute colored mesh. You also need a package of pipe cleaners cut in half. You want to cut your mesh into strips at 15 inches. Now, to do this method, you want to take the 2 cut ends and you fold them over themselves by about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, like that. So you're making a tube. Then you press that down. You start at one end and you scrunch up like you would on a standard ruffle. Stop in the middle, grab at the top, scrunch that down, meet in the center, take a pipe cleaner, wrap that around, I always like to fold it down so I can get a good grip. You want to pinch right at the base and give a couple twists. Okay, now this, where I have my ends, this is where all of your folded pieces are. Now that's the bottom. You want to make sure your ends are on the bottom. And then you can just adjust your little bundle And that's what it looks like. I always think it looks like a little butterfly or a flower. Let me show you one more time. Now when you look at your bundle, if it's not even, you don't have the same amount on either side. If it's a little off, that's okay. But if you have, like on this one, this area is much larger, just grab the other side, grab the center, and just kind of pull until your bundle looks a little bit more even, like that. When this goes in onto the wreath, this is going to be folded up like this. So that's the texture that you're going to see. That's why you want them to be relatively even. Okay. Now to attach our bundles to our wreath form, we're going to be attaching it to the 2 bars in the center all the way around. And between each crossbar is a section. And in each section, you'll put 6 bundles. It will take a total of 1.5 rolls. You will have a good amount of mesh left over. So just feed your pipe cleaners on either side of those 2 bars in the center. Pull them together and give a good twist. I like to pull them together and then I push them forward. This helps keep the back of your wreath looking nice and clean and professional, and you will not be able to see those from the front. I really do love the base on this wreath. It is my folded ruffle method. I designed this method back in May of 2020 to be used with Dollar Tree mesh. And then you just push them over. And see, that's the beautiful texture. I absolutely love that texture and no fraying. I'm going to work on my base and get some of the sections done, and then I'll come back and show you my progress. I have 4 sections done, and that was 1 roll of the 10-inch by 10-yard mesh. I am absolutely loving that base. Look at that beautiful texture and absolutely no fraying. Beautiful. So 1 roll covered the 4 sections, and here on the back you can see I only attached them to the 2 bars here in the center, and I did place 6 bundles in each section. But by tucking your pipe cleaners down, look at how nice and clean the back looks. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, I'm going to finish my base and then I'll be back and we can move forward and decorate. I have my base all complete. I'm very happy with how thick and full it is. I really like the texture, and I really like the fact that there is no fraying on this base. The sign that we're going to be using today is this one. I really do like it. It says Joy to the World. I really love holly decor at Christmas time. I also like the way that it's shaped as a tag, and that they've also included a grommet. Now I've decided I want to leave the rope here. I kind of like that look of it coming off of the tag. And to prep it to go onto my wreath, I did glue on 2 pipe cleaners down in each corner here at the bottom. And then at the end of the rope, I also added a piece of floral wire here. I just wrapped it around the end. This is going to help me to attach that end to my wreath. Now I want to place my sign on the top of my wreath. I always like that best. And I want it slightly angled and off to the side. I am planning on putting a large bow up in this area, and then I want to add some other embellishments around the rest of the wreath. Now to get this attached, I'm simply going to take my pipe cleaners, separate my deco mesh here until I can get down to that wire frame in the back, and then you simply attach it to the wire frame. Now you can attach it anywhere that you like on the wire frame to get the sign to sit how you like it. You'll do the same thing with the floral wire at the top. Okay, I'm going to get my sign attached. We're going to work on our bow now. Now these are the two ribbons that I've chosen. I picked up both of these at Costco this year. And this one is 2.5 inches, and these rolls are 50 yards and they were $8.49. And this one is 1.5 inches, and I really like this. It has a little bit of a diamond cut pattern in there and just a little bit of extra shimmer. It's absolutely gorgeous ribbon. I don't know if my camera can pick that up, but it is so pretty. And to play off the holly in the sign, I have this beautiful holly ribbon that's trimmed with just a little bit of gold to add that little bit of extra sparkle. I'm going to be using my Deluxe Easy Bow Maker. I really do like this. I have arthritis in my hands and it does make it difficult for me to make bows. This does help me out quite a bit because it does hold everything for me. We're going to start with the holly ribbon today. And I'm going to measure my tail at 8 inches. You want to pinch and twist and then come down between the two large dowel rods. Now on your tails, the nice side should be facing up, but as you go to make your loops for your bow, the nice side should be facing down. And with this ribbon, I'm going to be making 3 loops on either side at 5 inches. I do like the Easy Bow Maker too because you can actually fluff out and play with your bow before you tie it together to make sure that it's looking the way that you want, that your loops look right. I really do like this aspect of the Bow Maker. And I did pick up my Bow Maker on Amazon.com. I'm happy with that, so we're going to move on to this really pretty red ribbon. Again, I'm going to measure my tails at 8 inches and pinch. Twist as I come through. And with this one, I'm going to make 2 loops on either side at 4 inches. I want to add a center loop, and I'm going to do it using this ribbon. I'm just going to put a little loop together, decide how big I want it, and then I'm going to pinch that and slide that right down inside. And then I'm going to pull out another tail and trim it at 8 inches. You're also going to need a full-length pipe cleaner. You want to take that and slide that down underneath the ribbon all the way till you get next to the dowel rods. Lift up. I kind of push down to make sure everything stays snug and then lift out. And then I take my pipe cleaners, I wrap it around the center, and I pull it to the back. Pull nice and tight. You want that really nice and tight, and give a good twist or two. Then just pull down your tails and open up your loops. I always like to hold mine right in the center here, so that I don't pull too hard and pull anything out. Okay, and that's approximately what your bow should look like. And I do my final adjusting and I trim my tails once I get it on my wreath. I have a better judgment of how long I want to keep my tails that way. Then I want to place my bow kind of up here on the side. This way I can kind of play with my tails. And this is why I like to leave it until I get it onto my wreath to decide how long I want to keep my tails, because I want to make sure that you can see my sign. And then to attach this, you just take your pipe cleaners, feed it down through your deco mesh, and attach it to the wreath form in the back, just like you did your sign. I have my bow on and I trimmed my tails. Now this time I decided I wanted to keep my tails a little on the shorter side, but I'm really happy with that. I like that you can still fully see everything on the sign. It matches very well with the holly on the sign, so I'm super happy with that. I'm going to be adding some of this really pretty flocked holly that I found over at Dollar Tree. It's just called Holly Berry. But I thought that was really pretty. I absolutely love the variegated leaves on the holly. You will only need one stem. I'm also going to add some of these ornaments. I picked these up at Dollar Tree as well. Now this is not the smallest one, but it is the second to smallest. These are the smallest ones that come in the little tiny packages. This is one size up, and I really like that soft red glow. I like that. And then I'm thinking I don't have any white, but I think the silver, this really soft silver, will also look really pretty. So I'm going to be adding these as well. Now to prep your floral, you just want to cut it and leave a decent sized stem. You need probably about 2 inches. And you want the berries to stand up a little bit higher, so don't push your leaves all the way up to the top. That's what I normally do, but on these I want the berries to kind of stand out. So I'm going to leave some length there, and then I need 2 inches past those to glue it in. And we're going to be adding these with hot glue. I always like to play with my placement first. So you can just take these and kind of stick them in around the wreath where you think you might want them. And if it looks right, then once you have them placed where you like them, you can go back and hot glue them in. Okay, I think I like that for my holly. And then to glue this in, we're just going to be adding some hot glue right here on the stem. And then just feed it into the deco mesh. You want to make sure it gets good contact. And then get it placed. And same thing when you're placing your little red ornaments here. I always put it around the top. This is the part we don't want to see. And then you can take these and just nestle them into the mesh as well. Just make sure you get good contact. I'm going to add in the rest of my embellishments, and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. And here you go, we are all done. I'm really happy with the end result. I think the holly and those little Christmas ornaments were the perfect final addition to complete this Joy to the World Christmas wreath. For today's project, you're going to need a 16-inch wired wreath form that's square. Now I did pick this up from Dollar Tree, but I believe this was a closeout from Walmart. Dollar Tree's regular square frame is 14 inches and this one is 16, so it's slightly larger. If you can only find the 14-inch frame, that will work. If you'd like a larger frame and you can't find it at Dollar Tree, you can always check Walmart, Joann's, or one of the other craft stores. But the 14-inch wreath form will work if that's all you can find. You're also going to need some deco mesh. Now the mesh that I'm going to be using is from Dollar Tree, but this is what I consider their good deco mesh. And how you can tell is they are all marked Floral Garden. This comes out of their quote everyday box. And you can tell that this is the better mesh because it is vacuum sealed. So you will need 5 rolls in the green. You will need 5 rolls in the red. And then you will need 2 rolls in the white. Now, if you're using the 14-inch wreath form from Dollar Tree, you can get away with 4 rolls of the green and 4 rolls of the red. You're also going to need a package of pipe cleaners cut in half. I have my mesh all unwrapped. Now, when I cut my mesh, I like to stack it. It just makes quick work of it. So I have all 3 colors rolled out here. Today we're going to be doing the cruffle method. I really do like to use that method. You get very little to no fraying with it. You'll want to cut your mesh into strips at 15 inches. Now I prefer to use a rotary cutter. This one I picked it from Dollar Tree. It was only $1.25. It works very well. I usually use these for a good 6 to 8 months before I have to replace it. So I think that's a really good deal for $1.25. I have my mesh cut and I'm ready to go. We're going to be making 2 bundles. One bundle will just be the red and the green, and then the other bundle will be red, green, and white. This is my Bodabra. I do like to use this to help me when I'm doing bundles where I'm using multiple pieces. I have arthritis in my hands and this really does help me. It holds everything. If you need help holding and you don't have a Bodabra bow maker, you can always use one of the clips. So to do this technique, you have your strip cut at 15 inches. I like to lay something down on one end to keep it out of the way. And then you start at the other end and you do a roll. Now I like to do about 2 to 3 rolls to make sure I get a good roll and those ends are hidden. And then I clamp it to hold my little curl there. Turn it around and then you do the same thing on the other end. Then you pinch in the middle and scrunch. So this way you have 2 little curls and a ruffle in the middle. Now you can either clip that with your clip or place it in a bow holder. Now it doesn't matter, you can put the green on the top or the bottom, you can mix them up, it doesn't really matter. Once it all goes onto the wreath, it's all going to be mixed up anyway and you won't know. See, I like that. It holds it for me. If you have good hands, you can always hold it in your hand as well, but I need help. Wrap your pipe cleaner around. I like to pull everything down so I can get a nice tight grip, and then you want to pinch and twist. Okay, so that's your little red and green bundle. And then on the next one, you'll do the same thing, but you're going to add one more, which is white. And that's what your bundle should look like when you have the white. I really love those traditional colors together. I think they're so pretty. Now to attach your bundles onto your wreath form. So you're going to start by attaching it to the center bar and the bar on the inside. And then the next one will be the bar in the center and the bar on the outside. And the pattern is going to be 2 of the red and green, and then 1 with the red, green, and white. I don't want a lot of white in this wreath, but I did want some to kind of help break up that red and green. Plus my sign has a good amount of white on it. So pull those pipe cleaners together, twist them, and then I always like to push my pipe cleaners down so they're facing forward. That helps to keep the back of your wreath looking nice and clean. So those are my first 3 bundles. I think that looks really pretty. Now I'm going to add 2 of the red and green and then 1 of the white. Now there are 8 sections on this wreath, and each section will take 8 bundles. Doesn't that look pretty? Okay, I'm going to work on my base. I'm going to get some sections done, and then I'll come back and show you my progress. I am halfway through my wreath base, and I am really happy with the result. I am getting a very nice, thick, and full wreath base. And as you can see, with this method, there is very little to no fraying, especially if you're using the good Dollar Tree mesh. And let me say, if all of Dollar Tree's mesh was as good as this, there would not be an issue. So trust me, this mesh is much better than their, quote, seasonal mesh that they get. This is their everyday box. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish the base here, and then I'll come back and we can start the fun part and decorate. I have my base complete. I'm very happy with the end result. It is so nice, thick, and full. Now once you have your base complete, if there's anything that you do see that may be fraying a little bit, just snip it off. But I really do like this method with this mesh because you get such a beautiful finish and very little to no fraying on that. You can set this aside. This is the sign that I've chosen to use today. Now this is why I went with the larger square wreath form, because he is a little bit long. But I'm really happy that they came out with these this year. They have this one that's the Santa, and they also have a snowman that's similar. But I really liked him, and I wanted to do something very traditional. Now to get him ready to go onto your wreath, you want to remove the jute cord to hang him. And then you're going to need some floral wire and some pipe cleaners. I like Dollar Tree's floral wire. I always buy the silver. It is 26 gauge and you get 100 feet. You want to take 2 good pieces of floral wire. You feed one through the hole and wrap the other one over the top. Pull it to the back and twist. And then you need to leave a nice long piece there so that you can attach it to your wreath. And then here at the bottom, when there's no holes, we're going to glue on some pipe cleaners. I'm going to put 1 in each corner down here. Just put a good dollop of the hot glue, lay in your pipe cleaner. And then I usually go over the top and add a little bit more to make sure that's nice and secure. Now you want to let that glue fully set up before you attach it to your wreath. We're going to work on the bow now. I pulled out 2 ribbons that I wanted to use. I absolutely love this ribbon. I picked it up at papermart.com. and I think it is so pretty. It is 2.5 inches at 10 yards. And the ho 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 there, the red is a little bit on the velvety side, which I really like, but I thought that would go perfect with our sign. And then the other ribbon is this one, and it is just your traditional red velvet Christmas ribbon. This I did pick up from Michael's. This is also 2.5 inches, and this roll is 50 feet. You're also going to need a couple pipe cleaners full length. We're going to start here with our red velvet ribbon. I'm going to measure my tail out at 8 inches and pinch. Once you pinch, you want to twist and come down in between the two large dowel rods. So on your tails, the nice side of the ribbon should be facing up, but once you come through and you go to start to make your loops, you want the nice side of the ribbon to be facing down. Let's see. On this one, I'm going to make 3 loops on each side at 5 inches. This is another reason why I like the bow maker, because I can adjust and play with my bow. I can get a good idea what it's going to look like before I tie it all together. So I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to move on to my ho-ho ribbon. I'm going to measure my tails again at 8 inches. Pinch and twist. And with this one, I'm going to make 2 loops on either side at 4 inches. Okay, so I have my 2 loops on either side. I'm going to add 1 more loop. This one's going to be a small one. This is going to be my center loop for my bow. So this one I'm only going to measure about 2 to 3 inches. And then when I come back to the other side for my tail, I'm going to come through the small dowel rod and the large dowel rod here in the front. That helps me keep a piece of ribbon on this side, so when I tie my bow, it won't come apart. Okay, then I'm going to measure out my tail at 8 inches and trim. Take 1 full-length pipe cleaner, slide it down one side until you get up next to the dowel rods. come up right in the center. Make sure that that one little piece stays on that side. Grab and lift up. This helps you keep everything nice and stacked. Take the pipe cleaners, pull them tight and wrap them to the back of the bow. Pull really tight and give a good twist. Okay, now those pipe cleaners aren't going to be long enough for you to attach it to your wreath. So we're going to add another one and just lay it in between the two short ones. Give them a twist or two. And then I take a short one and wrap it around one of the long ones. This will give me plenty of pipe cleaner to be able to easily attach it to my wreath. And it also makes it nice and secure. Just like that. Okay, then you just need to open up your loops and pull down your tails. If you have any issues where your loops don't want to lay right, just go right down here to where they come out and pull and do your adjustment there. You'll be able to better adjust your loops that way. And that is approximately what your bow will look like. Now I always do my final adjusting and fluffing, and I also trim my tails once I get it onto my wreath. I have a better way of judging how long I want to keep my tails then. Now I want to place my sign a little off center here, and I want him to be just a little bit angled towards the corner. And then here on the other corner is where I'm going to place my bow, up here. And I think that's going to look really pretty. Now to get these attached, you simply take your floral wire and your pipe cleaners. Once you have your placement, just kind of separate the deco mesh until you can get down to the wire frame in the back. And then you just feed your floral wire and pipe cleaners to the back there and attach it. Now you can attach it anywhere you want on the wire frame to get that sign and bow to sit the way you want. I'm going to get my sign and bow attached, and then I'll come back and we'll add our other embellishments. I have my bow and my sign on. I'm really happy with it. I decided to leave my tails long on this one, and I just gave them a little bit of a dovetail there. My sign is nice and sturdy. It's not going to go anywhere. I do like to use a combination of the floral wire and the pipe cleaners, especially if you want to put your wreath outside. Sometimes hot glue will fail if you put your wreath outside. If it gets too hot or too cold, it can loosen and let go. That's why I use the floral wire. So if that happens, this sign is not going to fall off because of the floral wire. You can set this aside. I'm going to be adding some of these ornaments that you can pick up at Dollar Tree. Now this is their large size. These are 7. And these are actually all silver. You have your glitter silver and then your soft silver. I really do like that. And I like the size too. Then I'm also going to be adding some of these candy canes. They come in a package of 6 that you can pick up at Dollar Tree. This one has the red, green, and white. Some of the ones are just red and white. You can use whatever you find. And then I also picked these up at Dollar Tree. And I really do like them. They have them again this year. I picked these up last year. This one has the red and the green little glitter there. I have 4 of those. And then I have 4 of these, which is just the red and white. So these are the embellishments that I'm going to add to finish off my wreath. Now before I glue in my final embellishments, I always like to play with the placement. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them all, if I'm going to use this silver and this, or maybe just this one, I'm thinking. And then on these, I'm just going to pull that little thing out that hangs it, and that's where I'm going to put the glue to attach them. So just play with their placement, decide where you want each of them and how you want them to lay out to fill in the rest of your wreath. And then go ahead and glue them in. Once you got the glue on there, just kind of nestle it into the deco mesh so that it gets good contact. And then once that sets up, you'll be good to go. I'm going to place in the rest of my embellishments, and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. And here you go. We are all done. I'm really happy with the final product. I think everything came together so nicely on this wreath. Those embellishments were the perfect final addition to finish off my Merry Christmas Santa wreath. The only additional thing that I did do is here on my candy canes, I added a little red bow. And this is where I got them from Dollar Tree. They come on a sheet like this. And I just went through and hot glued them onto the candy canes. I think that was the perfect little final touch for those. To get started on today's project, you're going to need one of these green pine wreaths that you can pick up from Walmart during the Christmas season. Now this one I grabbed last year. They have them again this year. I did pick up 3 more this year. Last year I paid $2.88. This year they were like $3.88, so they went up $1. But this is their 20-inch non-lit basic green wreath. And I've already gone through and fluffed it out. Once you fluff it out, it looks very pretty, but when you see it in the store, it's all scrunched down and scrunched together, so don't worry, when you see it, you can make it look rather pretty. Now, I do like the pine base, but I want to add some other greenery here to make the base a little bit more interesting. Now, last year at the end of Christmas, when everything went on sale, I happened to go into Joann's, and they had a ton of Christmas greenery, and they had these bags. They're just called Bloom. They had several different ones to choose from. This one comes with 3 different types of greenery, 2 stems of berries, and a couple pine cones. So I thought that was a great buy. I believe it was like 75 or 80% off, so it only cost me a couple dollars for the bag. I also pulled out of my stash a couple more pine cones. And then from Dollar Tree, I pulled out one of the snowy greenery in the dark green and one snowy greenery here in the lighter. So you can see the difference there. They both do have a very small amount of artificial snow. And then I pulled out these 2. They are called Frosted Greenery. And I really like the greenery. It's different than anything else I have, and I like the little bits of white berries. They also have this with red berries, so that's up to you which one you want to choose. I have 2 stems of that and then 1 of each of these. Now I have everything open and trimmed. I wanted to show you the 3 different greeneries that come in this package. Isn't that pretty? That's 1, 2, and 3. I really like those. And then these are the Dollar Tree. Now on these greeneries, I just cut so that there's 1 piece on each stem. And this one I just cut into individual stems. Now I'm adding a little bit of snow here to my pine cones because I want more of a snow-tipped look to this wreath. So I just have a little bit of my Apple Barrel basic white paint. I'm going through and just adding a little bit here to the tips of each of the little pieces here of my pine cones. Just adds that little bit more of that wintry feel. And I think it makes the pine cones really stand out. You don't need a lot of paint, just a little, and you can do as much or as little as you like. And if you don't like this look, you can always skip it. But I love that. I think that looks so pretty. Okay, so I'm all ready to go to start putting in my greenery. And I'm going to start with these that I got from Dollar Tree, both the light and the dark. And I left a good 2 to 3 inch stems. I'm going to be using my Surebonder glue skillet today. I'll put a link in the description box below if you're interested in getting one. So now I'm just going to work my way through. I'm going to get my ends dipped in the glue skillet here and then placed. And I'm just going to slowly work my way around. Kind of mix up the two greeneries, do a dark one, then do a light one. Just add a little bit of glue and then feed it into your base. Now as you're adding all your pieces, you want to make sure that they're all going in the same direction. Now I'm going to move on to this greenery. Now this is part of the greenery that came out of the bag, and they do come with wires on them. Now if you would like to wire this onto your base, go right ahead. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to leave them on just to help me with the glue to get them set. Now these, I only got a couple pieces of each, so I need to make sure I get them evenly distributed around the wreath. So I now have all my greenery placed. Next I'm going to do this with the little berries and the bits of glitter. I have all of my greenery in. Now before I move forward and finish adding the rest of my items, I want it to look a little bit more snow. So I'm going to go through with my apple barrel white paint and add a little bit of snow tipping to it like I did with the pine cones. Just get a small amount of white paint and then go through and slightly hit your greenery with some snow. Now it's up to you to put on however much or little you want. If you don't like this look, you can always skip it. But I really want to get that wintry, Christmassy feel with this. I live in California, so it stays pretty warm all year. It doesn't get that cold. We have no snow in my area, though up in the mountains we get it. So I like to get a little feeling of snow wherever I can, even if it's just fake and in my decor. I'm going to work on my base and get this done, let it dry, and then I'll be back and we'll finish decorating. So while the paint is drying on our wreath, we're going to work on our bow. And I just pulled out some red and black buffalo check ribbon. This is, let's see, 2 inches at 30 feet. I believe I picked this up at Walmart. But you can get black and red buffalo check pretty much anywhere. Now I'm going to start with 8-inch tails. Go ahead and pinch and place that between the two large dowel rods. Now I like to use the Easy Bow Maker because I do have arthritis in my hands and some days I just really need the help. Once you come through the two dowel rods, you want to twist so that the knife side is facing down. On your tails, the knife side should be facing up. Now I don't want a really big bow on this, so I'm only going to measure my first loops here at 4 inches. And I'm going to do 2 loops on either side at 4 inches. So I have my 2 loops on either side at 4 inches. I'm going to do one more loop on either side at 3 inches. And then I want to do one more little loop here for a center bump. So I'm only going to do that one like 1.5 inches to 2 inches. And then when I come back to the other side for my tail, I'm going to come through the large dowel rod and this small dowel rod in the front. That helps me keep this little bit of the ribbon on this side, so when I tie it, my ribbon's not going to come apart. And now I can measure out my other tail here at 8 inches. You're also going to need 1 full-length pipe cleaner. You want to slide that in on one side down till you come up next to your dowel rods. Pull it together, pinch nice and tight so you can lift it out. You want to make sure that one little piece stays on that side. Cross over and pull those pipe cleaners to the back and give a good twist. Make it nice and snug. Okay. Then pull down your tails and open up your loops. If you need to do any adjusting your tails or any loops, don't lay right. Go right up here to where it comes out from being tied and adjust it there. That's where you're going to get it to lay the way you want it to. Just kind of pull and twist. Now this small little loop is the center. That will cover any part of the pipe cleaner so you don't see that. Then you have 3 loops on either side, so just separate the 2 larger loops in the back and open up the smaller one in the middle. And that is approximately what your bow should look like. I always like to trim my tails and do my final adjusting once I get it on my wreath. My wreath is nice and dry and I'm really happy with the result. It looks snow-tipped just like I wanted. Now before I place the rest of my smaller items, I want to get my larger items placed. And I have this really adorable little ornament that I picked up from Dollar Tree. And it's one of their little owl ornaments. I actually have 2 here with the red and black buffalo check. You just want to work with their placement until you get them where you like them. So I want one a little lower here, kind of towards the center. Looks like he's kind of perched there. And then I want the other one a little bit higher on the opposite side. Kind of angled in, but more on the outer side. And then I found this ornament at Walmart. I thought this was absolutely adorable. I did pick this up this year. And I took the rope hanger that was off of it and I replaced it with some green floral wire. I just put it through the hole, twisted it a few times, and then I'm going to use this floral wire to attach it to my wreath. And I want to place this guy kind of up near the top here, a little bit over on one side. So I'm going to nestle him in there and adjust. I want to be able to read the words on there. And then down here, I want to place my bow down in this area. Now once I get these items placed, and then I will be back and we can place the rest of our smaller items here and fill in the rest of the wreath. Now to get my bow and my little ornament here placed, you just take the floral wire and your pipe cleaners, separate it and tie it around the main base there of your wreath. And these guys I am just going to hot glue into place. You want to get a good amount in there. But play with the placement. Make sure that you get them where you want them before you glue them in. Okay, so now I have my main pieces in. I have my bow here at the bottom. I have my two owls and my sign. And I'm really happy with their placement. I took my time, made sure I got them glued down. I refluffed around them. Now the two stems of berries I cut down into 3 little pieces. These will be easier for me to place and it'll stretch it out. So I have 6 little pieces. And then I have 5 of the pine cones. And I also have these, which I did pick up from Dollar Tree, and they are a garland of the small red and black little buffalo check balls. And I'm going to cut these off and then just glue them in. So kind of remove the jute cord and any large amounts of glue. And then just glue those in. I'm going to start with my pine cones since they're the largest. And I'm going to work on getting them evenly distributed. Now some of my pine cones have wire on them, which I'm going to leave them on and use those. And then the ones that don't, I'll just glue right into the base by adding glue. The ones with the wire I can lift up like this and get them to sit up a little bit higher, which is nice. Just kind of play with it and adjust it till you get it where you like it. And then to add my little berries, again, just dip and then nestle them in the wreath wherever you would like them to add that extra little bit of red. And then these little guys, just add a small amount of hot glue and then nestle them right on in wherever you would like them in your wreath. Just make sure you can see them. Okay, I'm going to get the rest of my embellishments glued in and then I'll be back and show you the finished product. And here you go. I'm all finished. I have all of my embellishments attached and I'm really happy with the end result. I think this came out so pretty. I love it. I love that natural look. I love the red and black buffalo check. Very, very pretty. absolutely gorgeous rustic farmhouse woodland wreath. And there you go, we're all done. I hope you enjoyed today's Christmas wreath tutorials. I had so much fun pulling together all of these 9 Christmas wreaths for you today. Let me know in the comments below which one was your favorite. Are you planning on making any of them this year? Thank you so much for stopping by. It's always a pleasure to see you. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, you're going to want to check out this video, my top 15 Christmas wreaths. Thanks again. It's always a pleasure. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.